We would like to thank our sponsors, Getaway Today. Use Getaway Today for all of your vacation planning needs. You'll get exclusive perks, great discounts, and the best customer service. Most importantly, their services are always free and easy, from experienced and passionate agents who love to make your vacation dreams come true. Head on over to getawaytoday.com from the link in our show notes to see their exclusive deals, and you can call 855-GET-AWAY and let them know Walt's Apartment sent you to start planning your next vacation today.
There was an idea. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people, see if they could become something more.
I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
This is the Marvel Tribe, brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast and the DisInsider.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Marvel Tribe. We're a group of excited and passionate individuals who have come together to share our love of all things Marvel. We are brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast and at DisInsider.com. My name is Shawn, and I'm joined by an amazing group of people. We have Sam, David, and Chris joining us tonight. So sit back and relax. From the big screen to the small print, feel the pulse in your chest so you know you're alive. One team, one love.
The Marvel Tribe.
Marvel Tribe.
Marvel Tribe.
Yes.
Marvel Tribe. Here we are. We're back. Hello, everyone. How are we doing tonight? Sam, how are you doing?
I'm great.
Good, good.
This was a great episode, so I can't wait to talk about it.
I only watched this one once, so I'll probably be in the background this time. But we got some great people here that watched a lot more than me. And when you guys talk in our group chat, I just sit there and shake my head because I don't understand who this person is or that. Might have my sons telling me who these people are. So it's great. David, Mr. Blurred Hulk, how are you, my friend?
Oh, fantastic! I am super excited to talk about this episode, where the Falcon Winter Soldier is going. Like this, I'm happy. This is like Christmas.
It's a really, really good show. It is not what anyone anticipated for sure so far. And back this week, Mr. Chris O'Lardy from Disney Done Differently, and I said it right this time, right?
Yes.
Nailed it. Okay. And Airbnb podcast. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
Very good. Glad to be back, and couldn't have come back for a better episode than the one that came out on Friday.
So Chris and Bill were not here last week because Bill, Barry from Airbnb podcast, and Chris were all together at Walt Disney World for the last week. So how was that, hanging out with Bill and Barry? I know it's the first time you actually met them in person, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the first time. It's you put three nut jobs together, and we went our separate ways.
It looked like such a good time, man. The pictures you guys are posting, you guys stayed at the Polynesian, I believe, and that's one of the upper level resorts there. Looked absolutely amazing. And if you guys don't follow Airbnb or Disney Done Differently, check them out. They have Chris does great things with food. This week he had George on from who's been a guest on Airbnb, made the painkiller cocktail, which I thought was absolutely amazing, and it looks so good. So shout out to George if you're listening. That's it. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Awesome episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Sam, do you want to get right into the breakdown, or does anyone else have anything they want to get to before that?
I'm going to put one thing out there.
Do it.
2 episodes in, we're about, 90 minutes, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So much has been done in 90 minutes.
Yep.
I can't even imagine what's about to come.
Yeah. And like David said in our group chat, the fact that they're attacking real world situations right now through a Marvel movie and tackling very, very important topics that are very present in the world right now. So this show was not anything I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be just a kick ass. They're going to fight and they're going to fight. But it's deeper. It's
absolutely.
I absolutely am into this show. I just have not had time to watch it again. So
they're adding depth to the characters, and it's amazing.
No.
I mean, I'm seeing Bucky in a whole new light, and everyone's in a different light. It's awesome.
Yeah, they are not only giving us more comic nods, and they're bringing more characters into the MCU for us, but they're also using it to shed light on some of the injustices in society, like when veterans come back and they're kind of not treated. Yeah, they're not treated the way that we want our heroes to be treated. Just things like that, racial, societal injustices. They're kind of just showing them to you in a different light, and that's what we need right now for change. We need to be in the media and to be just kind of like these characters that you're relating to, and you're drawn to, and seeing that they're experiencing these things too. Yeah. So that's hats off to Marvel and Disney for starting to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will say that, we played on Walt's apartment on Wednesday night. We played that TikTok of the veteran who was sitting there drinking the wine, talking about just how bad, vets are treated and stuff. And I've had people message me and saying, "Hey, thanks for sharing that. That was just so amazing and so true." And people have messaged me and thanked me for, thanked all of us for putting that out there. And, like Sam said on Wednesday, for all you vets, we're so thankful for all of you, and thank you all for your service. And we're sorry you have to go through that crap, because it is crap. They should be treated like heroes. And you see a lot of that in this show, like Sam thinking, "Hey, in the first episode, I was a hero. I should be, and it's just, this show's
and
really,
then
really
the very
good.
next episode, he gets almost arrested for walking while black.
Yeah.
It's just, they're
they're
hitting a lot.
I thought the show was going to be more like Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
The movie Lethal Weapon. Yep. Where it was the comedy that would be there. And I was completely wrong. This is dealing with more grief than Wanda. It's a different type of loss. And then but it's definitely grief. That's what I'm getting from it.
Relatable.
The Cap's not
trauma.
there. Yeah.
So we want to dive into, do we want to do a recap, or do we just want to do like we did last week and just go as we go? What are you guys feeling? Do you have a recap prepared, Sam?
I mean, the episode kind of jumps all over the place. I can go a little bit.
Let's just
go.
Let's just jump into it.
Yeah, okay.
So
because it jumped around a lot.
It did.
It did.
So it opened up with Mr. Walker, Don Walker, U.S. agent. He's unzipping his jacket, getting ready
in his high school locker room.
In his high school locker room, getting ready to be introduced to the world as Captain America and stuff. The winners, not the winners. Captain America. What I thought
Good
was
Morning America.
Yes.
On Good Morning America. And what I thought was kind of interesting in that locker room scene, they did a good job, kind of really kind of showing and telling his resume and showing some of his apprehensions and and it could be, and some of this could be hiding some, like with anyone, like there's even cocky people or people who are very arrogant, people who are very, very, I don't know how you say, they have vulnerable sides and moments and stuff. And so we got to see a vulnerable, like he's a little unsure.
He was insecure about it.
Yeah.
I don't think that would last. I mean, because you see him kind of adapt to it very quickly. But with that, his wife comes in, his friend, who we later discovers is his sidekick and stuff, comes in, Lamar, he comes in to play Battlestar. Yeah. And they're giving this pep talk and stuff and everything else. And like, dude, this is, he was like, I wasn't prepared for this part of the job where you're meeting, talking to Congress people, shaking hands, kissing babies, and his partner reminded him, like, this is the job, this is part of the job and stuff. This is what basically he's saying with this, and it's true what Steve Rogers had to do early on in his career. The USO shows and everything else on top of doing missions and everything. So they really, but it showed that the government had him in the tank ready to go. So it really kind of gave, it really showed the gaslighting when Sam Wilson gave up the shield to retire it. because he believed, and I mentioned this in our comments, that there's this kind of imposter syndrome. Like it's Cap's shield. He's this big figure and stuff. He's hard to follow, and so when Cap gave him that shield, he felt like he wasn't. He felt not only he wasn't ready, but no one should carry this mantle. This belongs to Cap. So he said, he thought he was doing the right thing by retiring that shield. And the government even said, "You did a great thing. Thank you for bringing the shield in and retiring it. This was appreciated accolades," which was gaslighting, because they had this dude. This dude in the background training and waiting to take over the mantle. And all they were missing was the shield.
And then we do find out later that after, Bucky and Sam are kind of off together, that Isaiah Bradley at one point held the mantle. And that for Sam was like, there was someone else. So it's not just, our Cap.
Correct.
This is a mantle that is supposed to be passed on. And so now you can kind of see Sam is starting to have some remorse over that. He's undecided on whether, he should get the mantle, whether he shouldn't have the mantle, whether, he needs to just be done with it. He's being very passive about it, and it's causing some grief between him and Bucky. It's definitely causing some rift between them.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think Bucky delivered probably the best line that explained what's going on between them two. Was in the therapy session after, and we're bouncing him around after Bucky gets arrested for missing his therapy session. They have, and then Walker managed to pull some strings and get Bucky released on the condition he does one last therapy session. She brings Bucky as well as Sam into the room to do the therapy session, and she has them do this soul gaze exercise where they have to kind of sit at each other, and first of all, they're both ready for this because this is their common stare contest. They stare each other down. They've been doing this since Civil War. There's no strangers to it. They're so gays, stare contest, okay. And so they turn and face each other, and she's like, "Get closer." Get closer. So they pull each other right in. It's like, yeah. And you see that back and forth and stuff. But Bucky has a really raw moment where, she's like, tell him what you need to tell him. And he's like, why did you give up that shield? Cap trusted you. He gave the shield to you. Cap's, up until now, we've always... Cap was the leader. He was. We've trusted in his decision. We trusted what he stood for. We believed him with our lives, and he picked you. And if you're saying he was wrong about you, what does that mean about me? Then he's wrong about me too, and stuff. And this guy is a killer. I mean, this is the Winter Soldier. He was a killer. Cap told him, dude, there's good in you. You're not this thing Hydra created and stuff. And so this is that struggle that Bucky was struggling with, and it was very real and raw, and it was in a short period. It was a short line. It really was, but it hit home. It was kind of cool. Yeah,
that 5 to 10 minute scene is really it changed the whole episode. Of so much was going on, with the flag smashes and all of that and the action, but that scene, everything stopped.
Oh yeah.
And a friend of mine actually reached out to me, and he said, because I've been talking about how it's the grief of losing Cap, and he said that he grew up and his parents were divorced, and he related to it that because Cap isn't dead, but he's no longer there, and he treated it as what he went through when his father and mother separated. Yeah. And and I was like, wow, that's a whole nother emotion that I didn't even think of. Because Cap's still technically around.
Right. And on the moon.
He's on the moon.
Right.
So can we bounce back to the
Good Morning America?
So Good Morning America. Don Walker. He's on stage. He's interviewing. He gives some great praise. He mentions Dr. Banner and Tony Stark, and he yells down the tech of Stark and the strength of Banner, and but one thing he has that he believes is similar to Cap is guts, and Cap was never short of that, and he hopes he can live. I mean, he was given the whole like, okay, this guy maybe the real deal and stuff. He was selling the audience and the crowd and stuff. I gotta say, I love the intro. I mean, the band with the band music playing. For those who don't know, and I can't remember his name right now and stuff, but he's the same guy who organized the All-Star Band for the movie Drumline.
Okay.
And they use some of the same characters.
I had that feel watching that. That's actually what made me think of was watching that scene was just like Drumline. I think it's in the same place too, down in the South, obviously. It looked like
it was shot in Atlanta. It was shot in Atlanta.
Yep.
So he organized that whole scene and the music and everything else and stuff. And I found out because they talked about, they interviewed him and they talked about some of the scenes and stuff. When John Walker runs out onto the 50-yard line, he gives the band leader the high five. That was not part of the script. He was doing his march and stuff, and they both accidentally just high fived each other and stuff. He saw it, and they just went with it, and then did the high five, and they kept it in the thing and stuff. And then he went out to go do their interview.
That's cool.
With I can't remember her name from Good Morning America and stuff. Who played herself?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was good. She went over, and the host went over all of the stuff he did. He won the Medal of Honor 3 times, which is no one done. Not even Cap did that and stuff. No one won the Medal of Honor 3 times. Of course, honestly, if we're being fair, Cap should have won the Medal of Honor like 12 times, considering what he's done for the world.
Right.
But anyway, he tested off the charts. I think they're going to kind of, because he's right now, and we'll talk about the truck scene. We weren't sure when that interview if he was a super soldier or not. He's not, but we can talk about that when we get to the truck scene. But the fact that they had to study his body, and because he was testing off the charts, he was, amazing accuracy. They sent him in, and he led in countless missions that were successful. He is Mr. Soldier of Fortune,
right?
Universal Amazing Fortune, and they, so we can talk about whether or not he's a super soldier or not, and I have my own little take on that. But
just the what you were saying with the band, the name of the episode is the Star-Spangled Man, and that's the song that the drum line's playing, which is the song that was from the original Captain America when he's being showed from the USO and all of that. Nice. So I like that little tie-in. It's Easter. Easter's coming, so the Easter eggs,
they're all over. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so there's that scene, and then we go right into is it Sam and Torres? They're kind of gearing up for a mission. Bucky, first of all, we actually cuts to Bucky watching this unfold on TV, and you see the kind of the pain and like the sadness on his face as he's watching this, sitting on this floor in his lonely, empty apartment and stuff. Watching this new person take the mantle of Captain America, where he knew it should be Bucky. In fact, so much so he went to go talk to Sam. No, I'm sorry, it should have been
Sam.
Sam. Sorry, I'm sorry. So he went to go talk to Sam, and Sam and Torres is preparing for a mission. They found a location where the flag smashers are going to be at and stuff, and so they're prepping for that. And then here's Bucky, right there in Sam's face, kind of like, dude, man, why'd you give up? Why'd you give up the shield and stuff? He's like, and Sam tells him like, dude, you don't think that broke my heart watching that too? I was right there too and stuff. And they kind of, they go into their little back and forth and stuff. And he's like, I got bigger things to worry about and stuff. And that's when Bucky's like, well, what's bigger than this? This Captain America, this is his shield. And he's like, right. And then he goes and tells them about the mission. These flag smashers, they're moving something. We don't know what it is. I had Red Wing out there doing recon for me,
and Bucky hates Red Wing.
He hates Red Wing. Absolutely. And stuff like, I don't trust Red Wing and his intel. Well, we're going to go find out if the intel's true and blah, blah, blah. And so he's like, I'm coming with you. He's like, no. And he ends up coming with him, and he's on the plane and stuff. And they get, more banter back and forth. They go at each other. They start out on the plane with the staring contest. Again, they're just sitting there mean mugging each other, and then they see them both sit up, kind of look like they're gonna what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Sam's always the one to call him out and be like, "Why are you staring at me for? What are you staring for?"
Right.
It's like, you're staring too, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. We're both in this together. We're both they're like brothers that way and stuff. So he's like, and he was Sam's getting ready to prepare to jump out and stuff. And he's like, what's the plan? He's like, don't worry, Buck. He's like, don't call me that. Only Captain America. Kind of a little dig on Sam and stuff. But anyway, so he's like, Captain America had a plan and stuff. He's like, I got a plan. I know I got a plan and stuff. He's like, all right, well, what's the plan? And then that's where he jumps out of the airplane and stuff. Don't say anything, he just jumps out there.
Yeah, yep. And then you know what? Sam had his plan. Mm-hmm. Bucky was not listening to that plan, though. Because, Bucky ends up jumping without the chute because he's going to be fine. And Red Wing leads him to where he's got to be up north. And basically, once they're in that warehouse watching the Flag Smashers, Bucky is doing everything Sam asks him not to do.
Yep.
Like, he's going completely against Sam's plan, which would just added a humorous effect to it. Because we needed that after, things had been kind of intense.
For sure.
So, comic book nod. Do you think we'll see Torres by the end of the show?
Yes.
Okay.
My theory is we will see Torres pick up the Falcon mantle because Falcon will become Captain America.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
We kind of see that. Just in the trailers, you see that because you see Sam gets the shield back eventually and is training with it. So we don't know when that's going to happen, but it's going to happen, obviously. So something changes.
And you see how Torres is very excited by Falcon's tech. Mm-hmm. He wants to talk about it and stuff like that, and he wants to know what it's like. So I definitely think that we could go that direction, and I would love to see that. Let's talk about the Flag Smashers. So we see it's Karli Morgenthau.
Yes, which is Carl, the original Flag Smasher, which is a person, not a group in comic books and stuff. So I love that they gave her that name.
I have a question. Do you think it could be a daughter, or do you think it's just them replacing it as a female character? That's
a good question. I don't. So they're known to do replacements and to modify things. They don't really. I have not seen them do
like add children, right?
Yeah. To and then there's an additional deeper backstory and stuff like that. I think if we would have heard Carl's name and then some more history, and then we get Karli, then I think that
so it's like a substitution. Before we get into Karli, can we talk? Okay, so when we were at when they were with Isaiah Bradley, grandson. Do you think we will see the grandson take on his role? Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
You think we'll see him become Patriot?
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome.
He's part of the Young Avengers. Stuff.
Yeah, they're setting up those Young Avengers hard.
They can't deny it at this stage.
Just go through the next shows that are coming out and just pick out the Young Avenger from each show. So you got Eden Wiccan, you got Patriot, and then you just go down the line. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but they're going to be all there.
We won't spoil it, but they'll reveal it when they reveal it. We'll tell you. And they revealed it in a series. They never came out and said, yeah, this is Elijah Bradley and stuff, Isaiah's grandson. What they did show is like they purposely made him answer the door. And so we know that the grandson does pick up the mantle and stuff. And we also know the grandson, just through his birthright. So Isaiah got his powers because they were testing the serum to try to replicate Cap's formula and stuff. So, and they did it kind of in the vein of like this Tuskegee Airmen. So they rounded up 300 black people to do these experiments and tests on with the super serum. Almost all of them died. But, Isaiah emerged and he managed to get Cap's power. He was a super soldier. They had him do missions. They had him fight secret missions, covert operations, lead teams. They even gave him, and there's this back and forth about the comic book version versus MCU version. I say listen to the MCU version because that is canon in these movies in this universe. They gave him Cap's stuff when Cap was frozen in ice. They put him behind enemy lines to go fight the Winter Soldier because Winter Soldier was ending America at their ass. So they gave him the Captain America's everything they had, dropped him behind enemy's lines. He almost annihilated the Winter Soldier. He took half of his metal arm for the story in the MCU and stuff.
Yeah.
And for that, when he came back, they locked him up because they were not prepared to give him the full mantle and made it get publicly known that he's the new Captain America. So they locked him up. They put him in jail for, what did you say, 30 years?
Yeah.
30 years. And for some people, people ask me, like, because he also he cast blame at Bucky's people, which was Hydra at the time, that your people, too, were also operating on me and coming into my cell. And the truth was, like, he was never captured by the enemy. Hydra infected S.H.I.E.L.D. and everybody else. So that's how Hydra would have had access to Isaiah and stuff, for those who don't know. So when he was in American, and when he wouldn't be in a regular prison, I mean, he's Mr. Super Soldier. He would be in a lockdown special S.H.I.E.L.D. facility. And where Hydra and, the Americans are operating and experimenting and doing all kinds of things for 30 years on this guy. So, I mean, that was heartbreaking to hear. You can see the anger. I love dude's acting. You can see the anger in his face. Like, now it just was. It was so raw. I loved it. It was amazing.
It was really well done. Yeah. So,
and not only just acting wise, Bradley he's an amazing actor and he portrayed that great. But kudos to Marvel, because that storyline is not as old as the original Captain America Winter Soldier. That's a newer storyline, which had and done amazingly. And the way they just
placed
put it in
perfectly.
There,
yeah, they placed it perfectly in the timeline. They did an amazing job. That's a great point, Chris. So we can jump back to the Flag Smashers and Karli, because we're at that amazing truck scene.
Yes. So Bucky was ready to get off the leash. He didn't want to wait anymore. The trucks were pulling off, and we get a kind of a resemblance of Civil War, where Bucky and Bucky's out running and running away from Black Panther and stuff. He catches that truck with ease. He jumps on in there, and then he opens the thing, and he automatically sees that what they were loading and they were stealing was medicine. They're going to deliver, vaccines. They're delivering vaccines for people and stuff. And then they thought there was someone inside that was a hostage. And, and he's like sitting there talking to Sam, like, found the hostage, like, hey, are you okay? Like, poor little girl and everything else.
Poor little girl.
Yeah.
I love her smile. Like, she sat there first, like, pretending to be all meek and shy. And then she hit that smile, like, oh, let's do this. Kicks him through the door onto the back of the truck, and this is where the epic fight scene begins. He gets pulled up on top of the roof. She jumps up, boom, Super Soldier. First of all, the kick itself shows that she's a Super Soldier, but then she jumps up, and then you see all the other Super Soldiers who are climbing up on there, and they're all fighting. And then in comes Falcon, and they're getting their butts handed to them.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they're kind of being. They're matching pace for pace, but they're getting beat. And then in comes, Captain America and his boy Lamar, his sidekick, and says, come in with the shield. And this is where I have to I want to be all hateful to John Walker. But I have to give him kudos and stuff because he handles Cap shield pretty darn well. He was kicking butt with that shield and stuff. And he even did the good guy thing and stuff. He even saved Lamar when he fell off the back of the truck, because he's not a Super Soldier, and, scooped him up with the shield and stuff. But with that said, he is definitely not Captain America. He whipped out the gun with the quickness and blew away one of the Super Soldier guys and stuff to save his sidekick and stuff. And then once the shield was gone, he obviously promptly got his butt handed to him as well too, kicked on the back of a car. Right. Sam ended up rescuing, Winter Soldier, who was up underneath the 18-wheel, and they rolled off after that fight. And then the Flag Smashers managed to pretty much get away.
And Red Wing got like shattered.
Oh my God! Rest in peace to Red Wing.
Yeah, he got
that over my knee.
And Sam's like, you love that.
It was. I hate to bring it up, but that was the way Bane broke Batman's back.
Yeah.
That's the way she broke that.
Oh man! Yes, she jumped in the air like Michael Jordan, grabbed Red Wing out of the air, and then smashed it over her knee, broke him into pieces. It was.
The scene before when Sam's looking at I refer to like football with the quarterback that has that sleeve for the pleats. That tech was amazing. I was like, I want to see more of that.
Yep.
Can I ask you guys a question? Because there's something I don't understand. So all these people are super soldiers, correct? How did they become super soldiers? Are they the same way that Captain America is a super soldier and Isaiah is a super soldier, or is it just they got the serum, or what? Did we know?
Let's go into this. So they hint, because we can talk about this, because they actually hint about the power broker. So the power broker, his name actually gives away what he actually is. They've been both sides of good and bad, whether it's U.S. government or counter government or group and stuff, trying to replicate the super soldier. So we have all these different weapons. We have weapon 10, which is Wolverine, weapon X, the Roman numeral 10. Hulk was a part of the weapon, they're weaponizing. Steve Rogers, he was part of the weapon trial programs. They got weapons, I and Jade. So they have all these different weapon programs because they're all trying to replicate serum, and they just don't get it right for the most part and stuff. And so Power Broker managed to get his hands on the serum, and in the comics he would make people pay a very heavy price to get endowed with these powers and stuff. We don't know how Power Broker is going to play out here. We don't even know who the Power Broker is. We all have our theories, which we can kind of talk about here in a second. But
I think we all think the same person too.
Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, we all think Thunderbolt Ross.
So this brings more of the Hulk story into the MCU. For me, Hulk always kind of set the movie with Ed Norton, always kind of set on the outside of the MCU, even though it is actually a part of the multiverse universe. But this, if it is Thunderbolt Ross, it does bring it in a little bit more, because Thunderbolt was absolutely, when he made Abomination, he was testing the super soldier serum on him, and just kind of it didn't work. So he turned into the Abomination. Thank you. So so this brings that in. So it could be Thunderbolt Ross, that he is the power broker, but we don't know. But that's what the power broker do. He gives people powers, and there's a price. We don't really know what that is. And so,
but he's not happy. The power broker is not happy with Karli.
Oh, no. He sent her a text and says, "You got what you took from me. Something from me. I'm going to kill you for it."
Yeah. And we see at the end, she basically lets one of her flag smashers sacrifice herself so they can get away, or sacrifice himself so that they can get away.
Absolutely. So the scene. So we're at the scene where the new Captain, Bucky and Winter Soldier are walking. That they're trying to walk to the airport to get back on to catch their flight on the military plane, and then here comes
John Walker's smug ass.
John Walker and Lamar, they pull up in their army jeep and stuff. It's like, hey, come on, get in. They ignore them, and they're like, come on, man. It's like 20 miles to the airport and stuff. Like, just get in. So they get in, and he's like, hey, introduce himself. Like, I know you guys. Bucky, you're Falcon and stuff. Sam, we're on the same side here and stuff. And Sam was like, how'd you find us anyway? Like, he's like, how'd you show up anyway? Well, Red Wing. Red Wing is technically government property. He is modified with Star Tech.
I'm the government. Shut up, John Walker.
Basically, yeah. And we tracked him. And I'm the government. So that's how we found you guys and stuff. And so, but he, and then, so he's like, okay, I know who you are, but who are you? And talking to Lamar, and he's like, in this world and stuff, you got to tell me a little bit more than that. And then he says, I'm Battlestar. So smugly, so convincing, so with confidence and stuff. And then that's when Bucky's like, okay, I'm done. Stop the damn car. let me off this ride because this is now dumb. We're in Looney Tunesville. Battlestar, really? Okay, all right. So Bucky gets off, and then they continue to have conversations like, "Look, man, John Walker's like, I need you guys. We can work together. I mean, I may be Captain America, man, but I need his wingman. I mean, he actually demoted. So just so you know, Captain America never considered Falcon his wingman. Falcon was his partner. Falcon was a person he didn't meet. He treated him equal, just like all the other Avengers. They dubbed Cap the leader just because they trusted him. But he never treated anyone as second fiddle. And so when the new Cap called Sam the wingman and stuff, he's like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, it's always the last line.
Always that last line, man. I see what you think of me. So he gets off the ride and stuff, and then that's kind of where they kind of part.
What does he need a sidekick for? He's got Battlestar. Who needs to be rescued?
And that's the thing. I was waiting for Battlestar to be like, "Hey, man, what's up? I'm right here." But he, that scene didn't take place. I think Battlestar knows.
I think Battlestar's a puppy.
Yeah, he knows his puppy. He knows he's long for the ride. That's why he gives himself a cool nickname, Battlestar.
Battlestar.
And to be fair, I mean, he is in the comic books. He is amazing. Little backstory. He was a part of the old Urban Commandos, and he used to have the nickname Bucky, which the old Urban Commandos, it was a black elite group, and Bucky was kind of almost like a slur. That's why he changed his name to Battlestar. He didn't want to be called Bucky no more and stuff. So he created his own superhero identity and stuff. So there's a Bucky and Bucky that are right there, facing off with each other and stuff. But he's not,
to me, though, that was, hey, we've got two Captain America sitting here and we've got two Bucky sitting here.
Yep. And
only one of each can persist.
The real deal. Yeah. Yep. One's the real genuine thing.
Yeah. And it's not John Walker. Can we talk about how U.S. Agent plays into the comics? Because some of our audience may not know about John Walker and U.S. Agents other than what they've seen in the show. So
U.S. Agent is the hardcore he's kind of like I want to do cross comic blends, but I think it keeps pace with people who watches superhero TV. If you look at Homelander from The Boys, if you guys know who that is, U.S. Agent kind of have that kind of cockiness, and he's a little bit like Punisher. He's very brutal, and he's very good at what he does and stuff. He's probably a Leo. He probably is. He's definitely not like Cap. He is prepared to do what he needs to do to win. U.S. Agent does have he's a super soldier. He does have the super soldier serum and stuff, and he's not afraid to spill blood for America. He is very. If you had to rate the scale of patriotic to be 1, you're not a fan of America, to 10, I will do anything my government tells me to do, no questions asked. Cap is not a 10. Cap has a moral compass that guides him, so he's in the middle. U.S. Agent is absolutely a 10. He will do what he needs to do.
Stone cold killer.
Yep.
He's an assassin.
So
if he had to be, he would be.
Yep.
So, and he has been.
This is why I'm kind of leery about the new Captain America and stuff, because I understand the character John Walker and who he is. He has all the accolades now. We see all the good stuff, but just like with anything, you can only hide. You can before the real mask comes off and stuff, and you get to see who the actual person is. And we got to see a glimpse of that after, and we'll talk about that after.
He's kind of an ass if you ask me.
Out of jail.
He is. He is.
They try to make you feel bad for him in the beginning because he's nervous about being the guy, and then by the end, you're like, I really hate this guy again. It's like, damn,
Remind you of someone from WandaVision?
Oh, come on now.
Yeah, it's exactly who we hated.
Yep. He has that Hayward energy and stuff too.
Oh, come on, Hayward. Poor Hayward.
Poor Hayward.
It's that energy.
I think it's the drinking. I'm sorry.
It's good acting.
Why do I feel bad for Hayward? I shouldn't.
So the next scene is definitely when they go. Bucky's like, I have someone I need you to meet, because they're still talking about Cap ship.
Well, there's the scene, but there's the scene before that where the Flag Smashers get taken in by the people. Is that in Germany? I believe it is. Or
yes,
wherever
it was in Germany, because they said
yes.
Miss Morgan, and I said, I know what that means.
They take them in and they house them or whatever. So what's behind that? Is there anything behind that, or is that just a setup for something?
So here's what, and this is where I can kind of akin to. It's really the lens you see this world through. It's kind of like the Star Wars thing, where you have the Empire, and then you have the Rebels. And the Rebels believed in their cause. They were actually doing good work, and we did too, because we went along with the Skywalker saga piece of the Rebels. But then there's the mighty Empire. It's the same thing. The Flag Smashers are set up to look like the Rebels. They saw the world what it was after half of the planet disappeared. Most of the people who were in power were gone. The whole world was unified. No flags, no boundaries and stuff. Unified in this trauma. And they saw a different world and stuff for that 5 years and stuff. And they were able to help each other, and it was more about the survival of the people versus, territorial individuality, all this other stuff. And so their cause is to go back to that. They had a taste of that, and they're not prepared to just accept that the people who come back, those who were in charge, everything else gets to keep and maintain their mantle and their positions of power, and go back to dividing the world and everything else. So what happened is they're out there helping people who they're taking from those who have the most resources and giving it to those who don't. And stuff.
That's why they're calling them Robin Hood. Steal from the rich to give to the poor.
Yeah. So there's a very sympathetic storyline behind the Flag Smashers, which is done purposely. So, and which we at some point, I think we're going to have to. You have to make a decision and stuff, because it may not be like the bad guy is the bad guy, and the good guy may not actually always be the good guy. And it's John Walker, but we'll see how things unfold and stuff. But right now, they're being made out to be like the Robin Hoods and stuff, and they're helping people, and then people are opening their homes to them. The guy was so proud to have the Flag Smashers come into their home. They made them this weird dish. And they gave them a room and really nice beds, and they're like, and the first thing I told them, like, we support you. We will, we're loyal to you guys. You guys are the Robin Hoods and stuff. And so they have a big fan following and stuff. Despite what the government thinks, who these terrorists are. And
I think that's what makes them such a threat to the government. Mm-hmm. And the government doesn't like to be threatened. They don't want the people to. Yeah, they government wants to be in control. They don't want the people to have the control.
Yeah, freedom fighters.
They're freedom fighters.
That's perfect. Yep, Chris. They are freedom fighters. Yeah. So
now we move on to Baltimore.
Yes. Then we get to Baltimore, and this is where Bucky, brings Sam to the doorsteps of Isaiah Bradley, and his grandson answers the door, and the first thing, this is the part where I kind of jumped and squealed like a little kid, because when he knocked on the door and the kid answered the door, you can't really make him out through the screen, but Bucky said, "Is Isaiah here?" And I'm like, no way, they're doing this storyline. I was super excited. I'm like, Isaiah Bradley. Is it? We're gonna talk about the Black Captain America and stuff. Like, no freaking way, Marvel's doing this, and they did. He's like, tell him it's Bucky, and from the they talk about was it the Korean War or the I think it was the Korean War in the 50s and stuff, and he explained this particular mission that I was on, and so the grandson's like, hold on, came back like, yep, come on in. I didn't think he would want to see you, but he did, and the grandfather comes out. And it's like, I needed to see for myself, because, that mission was the mission he was talking about, where he fought the Winter Soldier and he ripped off half his metal arm and stuff. And he's like, I just want to see if you grew that arm back and stuff. And it looks like you did. And
he's basically like, I should have killed you when I had the chance.
Yep. And he looks fit for a grandpa.
He does.
He's standing pretty tall. And
when he threw that glass,
Yep.
It sticks in the wall. And
Permanent
then
part of the
Elijah's like, you need to go.
Yeah.
So Elijah, when we know that he's, in the storyline, the Patriot.
Some of us know
did
that. I
he?
didn't
Well,
know
okay,
that.
sorry. So he's Patriot in the comics. Did he? So basically, if you're a super soldier, can you pass that on in your DNA?
So this is where Elijah comes into play. He is the proof that he got the powers passed down to him, and so it was in the blood. It was kind of what.
So it becomes part of your genetic code.
For
So
this particular case, it did. So super soldiers, worked in that manner. Go ahead, Chris.
So, not to jump, but right before that, I think was another pivotal point in the show that was done amazing. When they're walking to the house and the kids are outside.
The funniest. Hey, it's Black Falcon.
So you're saying it's funny. I'm like, finally, someone just put it out there. Mm-hmm. No, I'm just Falcon. And the tie-in that I actually went back and reviewed, that Falcon is actually the first African-American superhero that did not have the name Black in his title. And I was like, look, this is what needs to be taught. And that's what we were talking about in that chat. Mm-hmm. If everyone else can just jump. I thought that scene was written amazingly and done gently and sent home a huge point. At least it resonated with me that way.
Yeah, for sure.
David, was it you who sent the Black Falcon and the White Panther?
Yes,
it was
the story. Yeah, yes, I did send that. There's some relevance behind the White Panther and stuff as well.
Well, but yeah, we were talking about him at Wakanda too.
As White Panther is actually a real superhero. He's actually T'Challa's adopted white brother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
But they changed that when Suri called Bucky the White Wolf, so he's the White Wolf instead of the White Panther. But that it was poignant. So Sam Falcon was technically he was in the storyline. He is the first, but technically the way the written comic books is, he's second to Power Man. So Luke Cage was actually before him.
Oh, okay.
So, but he was the first in the story arc of the universe and stuff of Marvel and stuff when he came about. But I'm sorry, I got it backwards. In the writing, Power Man was first. Wait, how did I get this? No, I'm sorry. Falcon was first in the writing. First introduced as a Black character with the name just Falcon, not Black in front of it. He came out before the Power Man, because Power Man was way back in the day and stuff. Luke Cage, for those who don't know who Power Man is and stuff, that's Luke Cage. 100% right, and it was very. I laugh because I find the response that Sam gave to the kid was I loved it and stuff, because when he's like, to my dad, you're the Black Falcon, and so my dad says you're the Black Falcon, and he's like, is that right? He's like, so what does that make you, Black kid? Like, am I supposed to she was Black kid? So for me, I thought that was funny, because that was a very short conversation to wrap up what that there's this thing around Black superheroes and Black characters and stuff like Black Panther and stuff, and it doesn't matter across genres. Black Lightning, it's just that thing that was Black was kind of put in front of your name, like that was a necessary moniker and stuff, and especially back in the 60s, because there was some backlash about it's always hyphen something, whether it's hyphen hero, hyphen American, like African American. It can't be just American. It can't just be a superhero name. There was that you had to title it with Black, as if that was a subversion of there's Superman and there's Black Superman and stuff. Say later changed or retcon to President Superman, that's DC. We don't need to talk about that stuff. But yes, it is absolutely a very real thing that Marvel tackled and they addressed, and I like the way they addressed.
It was short and sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, and it leads into Black Captain America. Well, he was just Captain America.
Right.
you know, and that's where I think it tied in for me at least. And I thought that was a great message being done. We talked the writing, the directing. This is superb of what's being done.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, there's all kinds of stereotypes and I love this series for a lot of things and stuff. Like they really are bringing forth they're talking about racism. They're talking about race in America. They talk about the veterans and how they're treated and
mental health
and stuff. And not only that, I mean, behind the scenes, they're still doing amazing. We have for those who don't know, we have a female director who directed all 6 episodes. And to me, episode number 2 was the best episode I've ever seen of a Marvel property that was on TV and stuff. I loved it and stuff. And the fact that it was a woman director behind it. And now I know people, yes, we've always had women directors and stuff, but we've always, we've always had people who were like, well, women can't direct action movies or understand from a male perspective or do this. And there's that weird a stereotype that no one would talk about. They just accepted that was the case. And the fact that Marvel's like, no, that's a BS stereotype. In fact, we can disprove it. And one of the things they said, we're going to hire the best and this is what Kevin Feige said when he talked about these shows. We're going to hire the best people. Didn't matter if they're black or white or men or female, male or female and stuff. We're hiring the best people, and they proved it by doing that. And the best person who happens to be for this series was a female director, and I loved seeing that. I loved it and stuff. There's some extra. For me, it's just an extra thing that's to celebrate and stuff. So
that is one of the big things we try to focus on in DisIology, which is another podcast that I co-host, but. We are always looking for when Disney or Marvel get it right. For example, we're always saying, like, you shouldn't put a multicultural movie out without having people from different cultures in the leadership positions. We can't just have, like, a white man do every single thing. Like, you have to have a diverse panel on everything you do because you have to be showing, like, not only are you showing the rest of the world that you value all genders, you value all races, you value all walks of life, because as a company, that's what Disney and Marvel need to do. But you're making the most informed decisions by giving buy-in from people in those communities. So I think they're doing an amazing job with that in Marvel right now and in Disney. Like Luca and I know Raya, they had people from different cultures leading their teams, and that's the direction they need to keep going, and they need to make sure that they're getting buy-in from the right communities.
And I think, and Feige, like what you just said, getting the right person. I mean, she has the experience. She did La Femme Nikita, and you want to talk about doing action and really dark drama. I don't know if everyone else has seen that show, but that she's doing that again with this
episode. She knows how to, she knows how to create a.
Her name is Carrie Skoglund.
Yep,
Carrie Skoglund. Yep, Carrie Skoglund, and she knows how to show a bunch of badasses.
Yeah, for sure.
She can take a script and bring it to life with all of the nuances and depth that it needs and stuff. And she's doing that now. I mean, it's amazing. I'm loving the storytelling piece of this and stuff. And just to kind of pick back up where when they
leave the house.
When they leave the house and stuff, we immediately see, we see a cop car comes, and the cop is fidgety, focused only on Sam, hand on his holster and stuff. Asking for his ID. Who he is, like, what? Why? I'm gonna give you. Then the second cop car comes and stuff, and he's like, and Bucky's like, let's just get Bucky's perspective, like, this is a nuisance. Just give me your ID. Let's just move on and stuff. And Sam's like, no, I know what this is 2 cop cars for me. Like, right. He's that, like, no, I have a right to just roam and exist. That's what that interaction was and stuff. What crime did I commit and stuff? Like, what, so.
There was 2 people arguing. That's all it was. There's 2 people arguing each other, then all of a sudden all that happens out of nowhere.
And that was very eloquently portrayed, because that is something that would happen. Like, most, I'm not going to say all, but most white men haven't had that kind of injustice. So
when he, so it wasn't until another cop came and whispered in the cop's ears, and he's like, "Oh my God, like, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson. Like, it's an event. You know, you're the Avengers and stuff." Like, it was, he was just another, black guy and stuff. It would, that hostility level would still been at that all-time high and stuff like that. Yeah. But because there's a little bit of celebrity and stuff to it, it's like, oh my God, I'm sorry and stuff. Where he could have kept that energy the whole entire time through the whole process and stuff. But it showed that. It showed that. It was like, oh, you're famous, you're adventurous, blah blah blah. And then I really love the dynamic they showed between the cops handling Sam and then how the cops approached and handled Bucky, because the guy came up like, "Excuse me, Mr. Bucky Barnes, like, we have a warrant for your arrest and stuff." And
he was very sympathetic.
And Sam, came to his defense. He's like, "No, he's been pardoned by the president of the United States." And so he's like, "Well, I'm sorry, sir," addressing Bucky. Like, you missed your therapy session. It's like, being on probation is a violation of your parole. And I'm sorry, I have to put these handcuffs on you. He gingerly puts them in his handcuffs and he escorts them to the back of his car and stuff. Versus, where, some of the things we see play out where you get takedowns and cops are like, "Stop resisting," and then, putting a battle just to, put people in cuffs and stuff. It was handled very differently.
Honestly, Bucky didn't give a shit either.
Yeah.
My French, but Bucky was like, whatever. Yeah, fine, basically.
Arrest me. So he goes in the back of the car and stuff, and and they drive off, and then that's where we get, we end up at the police station. That's where that scene kind of unfolds and stuff. Sam shows up because regardless of their fighting or whatnot, that's his boy. Yeah. He's an Avenger. He shows up for his friend.
Thankfully, Captain America is there though to bail him out though.
Thanks, John Walker.
I know he knows
America's
people,
hero.
Yeah, I think he even didn't he do a little douchebag point to himself? Like,
yeah,
he did. No, he did.
This
guy. This guy goes. Yeah, like I said, you feel bad from the beginning, kind of. Then you're like, dude, just you want to punch him again, By
He's so smug. He's so smug.
I don't like it.
So the therapist shows up, and then obviously John and her has a relationship. They did missions together and stuff like that. So Sam's like, "Oh yeah, you guys know each other." He's like, "Yeah, we work in missions and stuff." Bucky comes out, and so John Walker's like, "Well, I'll be outside. I'll be outside when you guys are ready and stuff." And so he goes outside, and then the therapist comes in and is like, "All right, come on. The condition of your release is you have to do one more therapy session with me." And he's like, "Sam, you too." And then they drag him. They both get dragged into a police interrogation room to do their final therapy session, or Bucky's final therapy session.
I like how they brought Sam into it just because he was there. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. You're coming.
He was there. So, but it was, and that's where I know we talked about this earlier, but that's where that real moment came.
Yeah.
Of Bucky, telling Sam like, "Dude, like if he was wrong about you, that means he could be wrong about me," and that was like you can tell how Cap felt about Bucky was his saving grace. That was holding him on from devolving into, because he has, all those Shuri from Wakanda deprogrammed him and got rid of a lot of that.
He still has urges, that Hydra impulses.
Over some. But and he has all the memories of everything he did. He can't get rid of that PTSD. That's right with him. So he has to relive that. And
that's why he asked his therapist, what was rule number 2?
Yeah.
Don't hurt anybody.
Don't hurt anybody.
And he's like, okay.
Yep. As he was leaving for his final session, rule number 2. Basically that was like, that's out the window right now. So
but then we get to go outside and see awesome Captain America again.
Oh God! Yes.
With his buddy,
what's his name? With his lights,
Battlestar Galactica, or whatever his name
with
is.
With his cop car lights. Like, could you be any more annoying?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So then he makes a final plea for them to join forces so they can, fight the good fight and take down the Flag Smashers and do all this. And they decline. He's like,
"No, we good. We good.
we're good and stuff. We're not gonna, and then he's like, all right, well then stay the hell out of my way and stuff." kind of issuing this. You get to see the little uglier side of things. It's like,
but they don't need him because they're going to visit someone else.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I do. Oh, there's a line in the show that was happening after the big rig scene when they were in the grass walking and stuff. About Bucky suggested we should jump Walker and take the shield, and and Bucky was dead serious. He's like, yeah, let's just jump him and take the shield back and stuff. Like, he was ready. He was ready to throw some elbows to go get that shield and stuff. But. Yeah, so I don't remember what was the scene after the car. I mean, after
they're walking away and they're saying they have to go visit someone.
Yep.
And he said, "You really want to be in a room with him?"
Oh, that's right. And then it transfers over to, or where is it? Was it Germany where they went to?
Yeah.
And so they showed, this secret base, prison base and stuff, and you're going down the cameras, the halls, and you see the Chris, there's a little number that was on a certain cell and stuff. You want to talk about that?
Sure. So his cell number is 2187, which is the same cell number for Princess Leia in Star Wars: A New Hope, which is also, if you put the FN in front of it, is Finn's number as a stormtrooper. So that was a huge crossover Easter egg that I'm a nerd.
A little nod to Star Wars and stuff there. There was a 1987 issue Captain America that had Zemo in it and stuff. So there's that. But I don't know where the 2-1 comes into play and stuff. But I got the 87 part. There's an episode with Zemo. So, but I love the nod, the 2-1-87 with the Princess Leia and stuff. That you heard it here only on Marvel Tribe, folks. Just so you guys know. So, thank you, Chris, for that finding that Easter egg. But yes, this is Zemo. This is Baron Zemo's cell. So
he's a bad guy, right?
He is.
Okay.
He's part of the conflict with the Civil War, where he managed to pit the Avengers against each other.
Right. Stuff. Okay, I remember that.
But now he reveals everything he knows about Hydra, right? So he knows everything on the Hydra side, and Sokovian reports. If you tie both of those together, well, you have your whole story of the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I don't want to start this whole tunnel, but there's got to be a tie-in to Black Widow because remember this show was supposed to come out right after Black Widow, correct?
Correct.
So I'm just wondering if there's a part that I have to pay my extra $30 to make sure I see Black Widow to find out what next week's episode's about.
You're going to pay about $500 when you fly out here, so it's going to cost you more than $30, dude.
So that's where that ends and stuff. Is just up on Zemo's cage, and we all see in the trailers. We see him out. We see Bucky and him have an interaction, and Bucky ends up this trailer for months, him dropping these bullets and stuff. We're thinking there's some kind of something's going to happen. So I think we're going to see that in this next upcoming episode. What that was about. And, but right now we know he's locked up. So
let me ask you guys this real quick before we end. Sam, when do you think Sam takes the shield and become what episode? There's 6 episodes. When do you think he becomes?
I'm going to say episode 4.
Okay. How about you, Chris?
Episode 5.
Okay. David?
6.
Oh, at the end?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I have no idea, so I'm not going to make a guess. So I just wanted to know what you guys thought about that. What did you guys think of this episode? I know, David, you said it's the best episode you've seen of any Marvel show on TV. So
which is 2. WandaVision in this.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think of this episode?
This episode made me think that WandaVision was an appetizer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It really just got us started and got us thinking. And I'm blown away because I did not expect this show to be as deep as it is. So I'm loving that. something for maybe for next week. If everybody, the end credits, you know how everybody always wants to see that next clip, but the actual end credits that come up, there are a bunch of hidden messages in there. Right, the golden monkey is the one that stuck out to me, and that ties into Hawkeye and all that down that rabbit hole. So maybe next week after we see another end credits, we can touch base on that a little bit.
Absolutely,
of course. Sam, what'd you think?
Monkeys remind me of Mystic Manor, and
okay.
Sorry, there's my Disney spiraling brain. I did not think that anything would ever compare to WandaVision, and I was wrong. I didn't think anything was going to make me spiral as much as I did. I mean, at one point I was like, wait, if we have Karli, then could we have Demolition Man, and could we have the Thing? Like, I was just going crazy.
Oh,
but
love it.
But
Red Hulk.
Yes.
Hulk.
But I'm just like spiraling. But yeah. I love that it is giving us more things to talk about, and it's introducing more characters into the MCU, and I'm super excited for the rest of the journey that they're going to give us.
For me, I thought WandaVision, because of my love for Wanda, I thought there was going to be nothing better. I'm not going to say this is better. I think it's just as good. This episode for me, I don't know. I look at it differently, and I like I was talking to before we went on, just about the realness of this, of how it's attacking issues that are in our country right now that are always there, and kudos to Marvel for doing that. For bringing that to the forefront. I mean, last week this was the highest watched show ever on a streaming service. Yep. So I mean, they're doing something right, and I'm sure it was probably just as good this week. So I am so excited about this show. I love this show. It sucks there's only 6 episodes, but I am on board. I can't wait to see what happens next. Do any of you have anything else you want to add about this week's episode?
One last thing.
Sure.
One of my favorite, since you guys having me here, the last episode when David eloquently described the ship of Thaddeus, right? And you broke that down. Maybe White Vision could come and fix the ship for Sam's sister.
There you go.
There you go. I'll tie that in. No,
he could. He absolutely could. I mean, he's going to need a job. I mean,
yeah.
We also know Vision had a job enough to at least buy a house for his girl. White Vision, I don't know what
he didn't even buy the house. He just bought the lot.
Bought the lot, yes.
He wanted all the
alone.
Yeah. Who does the bank come after? They come after White Vision now for
right
for the loan.
Why has it got to be called White Vision? No.
Exactly. Spectral vision. Yes.
Well, all right. Well, David. Oh, go ahead, buddy.
No. This is great. I'm strapped in for another roller coaster ride, and I'm ready. So this is fun.
David, where can we find you on social media?
Man, you can find the Bird Hulk almost everywhere.
Anywhere you look.
Anywhere you look. I mean, I'm on Martha Stewart. I'm on Fox News. I'm on CNN. I'm at the car dealership.
He's at Good Morning America.
Nice.
I'm on the Good Morning America. I'm under your bed. I mean,
whoa.
If you're old enough. I'm not under kids' beds or anything. No, but seriously, I'm Twitter. I'm on TikTok. On Facebook. On Instagram. Bird Hulk. Just look up Bird Hulk. I love interacting with people, and if you have questions. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm just a fan who love Marvel stuff, just like everyone else here, and different.
I think we put you up against anyone when it comes to expertise. I'm not too worried about that. So I think you do just fine.
If there's money on the line, like Jeopardy style, I'll do that. But yeah, no, I'm having fun. This is amazing.
Good.
This crew I'm with. I tell myself every time I am extremely lucky and blessed to get the opportunity to talk Marvel, talk shop with these beautiful people who are on with me and stuff. So this is awesome. Thank you.
Well, we're lucky to have you.
Sam, where can we find you?
All over the world.
Perfect.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Clubhouse.
DisInsider podcast.
all over the place.
Yes. And Mr. Chris Alardi, thank you for joining us, brother. You know you're always welcome here. So whenever you want to be here, you're always welcome. So where can we find you?
You're with us now.
You're stuck.
Where can we find you?
You can find me on Marvel Tribe. No.
Yes. Look at we just claimed
you. Heard it first.
You heard it. We claimed him, and he's staying.
Thank you, because my childhood is getting, I get to relive it, and I had a great childhood, so I'm proud of that. Thanks to my parents, and I'm proud of the people that I've met, and you guys definitely are great. Wednesdays on YouTube, Disney Done Differently, just cooking some food a little differently from Disney, my passion for food and the parks and the mouse. And then on Thursdays at 8 o'clock, I'm the food correspondent for the Airbnb Disney podcast with Bill and Barry.
Absolutely. And you can find me at waltsapt.com. I do have an Instagram, but I rarely ever go on it. You can go to Walt's Apartment Podcast Instagram and probably find me there, or Breanna, who's doing all that stuff for us. I do want to do a couple shout outs this week on Walt's Apartment, the live stream on a Wednesday night. We're going to have Joey from Disney Universe Podcast, who has been a really good friend. He was a really good friend of the DCast and was was right there the day that Chris passed away, was right there reaching out to all of us, and was just an awesome guy. And we've always said, let's do something. We finally are going to do it. This Wednesday, he'll be on. We're going to play a game. I'm going to call it Hot or Not. I don't know. You think about that.
Wanda.
Hot. Right. So, I mean, that's obvious. But anyway, Sam, David, Chris, thank you guys for doing this with me. To all of our listeners, thank you for listening to us. Make sure you listen to all of our shows. You have Disology, you have Marvel Tribe, Force Friday, Extra Magic Hour, the Disney Beat, all that stuff, Airbnb, Disney Done Differently. Listen to everything from all of us, from all of our shows. We thank you so much for joining us every week, and we will see you all next week. Have a great night.
Oh.